Good morning from Beijing and welcome to this edition of CCTV News. I'm Yuze, live from the Chinese capital. Troops loyal to Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi have launched a new attack on the western town of Zawiya, with tanks shelling the central square. But rebel forces say that they remain full control of the area. The remarks came after fierce fighting, which lasted about 6 hours on Saturday. Liao Liang has more details.
Libyan troops are fighting fiercely to maintain their hold on Tripoli and surrounding areas, while rebels push their front across the country from their eastern stronghold. After the first battle in Zawiya, located 50 kilometers west of the nation's capital, an opposition spokesman said his side had captured 3 armored personnel carriers, 2 tanks and 1 pickup truck after an hour and a half of fighting. In the early afternoon, Muammar Gaddafi's forces make the second attempt to win control over the town. Local residents say government forces fired high explosive rounds at civilians and dragged people from their homes. Doctors in Zawiya say at least 30 victims, mostly civilians, were killed during Saturday morning's clashes, bringing the death toll to 60 after 2 days of battles around the coastal enclave. The Libyan Foreign Ministry said on Saturday evening that the situation was quiet and peaceful. Meanwhile, rebel fighters were also advancing on the town of Sirte. Witnesses say they moved steadily through fields and desert land, eventually reaching the village of Nafolia, where they set about securing the area. Many carried assault rifles and rocket-propelled grenades. So far, the situation in the Libyan capital remains relatively calm. Shops in downtown Tripoli were still open at dusk, but barely any customers were seen. Gaddafi supporters continue to rally there in an effort to show their backing for the embattled leader as 2,000 people gather in the city's Green Square. Liao Liang, CCTV.
And a spokesman for the Libyan Foreign Ministry says the situation in Zawiya was quiet and peaceful as of Saturday evening. He adds he hopes this remains the case.
Regarding the situation on the ground in Zawiya, the situation there is quiet and peaceful. I'm talking about this time of the day, and we hope that by tomorrow morning, life will be back to normal in Zawiya. Regarding the situation on the ground in Ras Lanuf and the Brega region, the army is still abiding by restrictions not to engage in severe fighting in those areas.
And the Foreign Ministry says a total of 35,860 Chinese nationals evacuated from Libya have returned home. And the last group landed in Shanghai on Saturday evening, suggesting that the country has successfully fulfilled its largest rescue operation in the last 60 years. Damien Jones has the story.
A chartered Shanghai Airlines flight touched down at Hongqiao Airport at 11:15 p.m. Saturday evening, bringing home the last group of 149 Chinese evacuees who were earlier transferred to Malta from Libya. A large-scale air, land, and sea operation, unprecedented over the past 6 decades, was carried out from February 22nd through March 5th. The mission involved 91 domestic chartered flights, 12 military airplane trips, 5 cargo ferries and 1 escort ship, as well as 35 rented foreign charter flights, 11 voyages by international passenger liners, and about 100 bus runs. Starting on February 23rd, officials sent 3 multi-departmental working groups to Tripoli, the Libya-Tunisian border, the eastern and central cities of Benghazi and Misrata, and the southern city of Sebha to help with the evacuation work. As of March 2nd, the Foreign Ministry says all 35,860 Chinese nationals in Libya had been evacuated, and all were back home by Saturday night. Damien Jones, CCTV.
And a German warship has joined an international humanitarian mission to evacuate foreign nationals fleeing the unrest in Libya. The frigate arrived in the Tunisian port of Gabas, south of the country's capital, on Saturday evening. And the German Navy spokesman says that the vessel is expected to repatriate about 450 Egyptian nationals to their home country. And all of the evacuees received brief medical checks before boarding the ship. Germany has deployed 3 Navy frigates to help rescue Egyptians fleeing Libya in a coordinated effort with other countries and the UN. Côte d'Ivoire's internationally recognized leader, Alassane Ouattara, says he will attend a meeting of African Union leaders in Ethiopia next week. And the gathering is the latest bid to resolve his country's escalating crisis. The trip will mark the first time Ouattara leaves the hotel, where he has been under 24-hour UN protection since being declared the winner of the November 28th election. Results certified by the United Nations indicate Ouattara won by a landslide, but his rival, incumbent President Laurent Gbagbo, refuses to leave office. A delegation of African leaders was supposed to visit Abidjan on Saturday, but cancelled abruptly overnight, instead sending a messenger, Jean Ping, the AU Commission chairman. And you are watching CCTV News. Stay with us. Welcome back to CCTV News. Thousands of demonstrators have proceeded from the financial district in Bahrain's capital towards the city's Pearl Square. And Saturday's rally in Manama continues their protest against the country's government. Adults and children shouted slogans and waved the banners from moving cars as the marchers made their way to the central location. And demonstrators repeated their call for the ruling Sunni family to step down. Bahrain has been the scene of protests for several weeks, mainly from the Shia Muslim majority demanding democratic reform. And Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas says he will not accept any Israeli peace initiative that includes temporary borders for a future Palestinian state. Abbas adds that he hasn't yet been notified of the details in a new peace plan that Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to announce soon. And the comments came during a Saturday meeting with Chile's President Sebastián Piñera in Ramallah. Piñera says his country has always believed in the cause of establishing a Palestinian nation. The Prospective Peace Initiative has raised fears that Israel could annex the remaining lands that Palestinians seek for their future state. And back here in China, inflation affects everyone. And in Premier Wen Jiabao's report, he called maintaining price stability the top macroeconomic control priority during the fourth plenary session of the National People's Congress. And he also outlined the strategies and goals for countering inflation in 2011.
Addressing the primary concern directly linked to people's everyday lives. In Premier Wen's government work report, countering inflation tops the list of tasks in 2011. Wen Jiabao said the government needs to maintain ample supply of manufactured goods and abundant grain and foreign exchange reserves. In 2011, the government will also enhance price monitoring and control, keeping CPI growth at around 4%. Premier Wen outlined the main ways inflation will be eased. Financially, the government is striving to effectively manage market liquidity and control the monetary conditions that affect commodity prices. Another major task is developing and ensuring production and supply of major farm products and daily necessities. Local officials will be held responsible for the rice bag and vegetable basket program, aiming to maintain food supply. The government will develop a distribution system for farm products. Unimpeded transport of fresh farm products will also be guaranteed through green channels, where vehicles carrying such goods are exempt from paying road tolls. The government is also striving to establish a long-term system keeping subsidies for low-income groups in line with the cost of living. Su Yingnan, CCTV.
And observers say the annual plenary sessions of the National People's Congress represent an unparalleled occasion to feel the new pulses of China's development from an all-around perspective. And let's find out what the most pressing issues are for some of the ambassadors and the delegates attending the session.
Very interested in seeing, what is the basic, policies looking forward from the Chinese government. As we all know, China is now a major world player, so we're really interested in knowing what China is going to do.
Well, I think China economy is developing steadily, and for today the main task for the government is to make the new quality level of development of Chinese economy.
We're from the World Health Organization, and so we're very keen to know how they've expanded the insurance coverage, whether people are satisfied with the progress on healthcare reform, and the future directions for 2011.
The NPC and CPPCC have played an increasingly important role in the Chinese political system. However, as a country with 1.3 billion people, China still faces grave challenges. I would like to see how the Chinese government plans to tackle imbalanced regional development, the widening gap between rich and poor, the soaring property prices, and the realization of the RMB as the fully convertible currency.
We regard China as a model to follow, an example to look up to. Côte d'Ivoire wants to draw inspiration from this model to restore its prestigious image and to enable us to follow the path to development.
China has always had a very big economy in Mauritius, and I can tell you that the Chinese New Year is a public holiday in our country. The first Chinese Cultural Center was established in 1985. Chinese people are welcome in my country. They're hard workers, smart and easily adaptable with the local population.
We are interested in the economic development of China. As we know, China became the world's second largest economy earlier this year. We would like to see how issues like the RMB exchange rate will be dealt with in the meetings.
From my own observation, no party could help hundreds of millions of people walk out of poverty as Communist Party has. And in only 2 decades' time, China has become the world's second largest economy. It's a miracle. However, we also see that China has paid a price, mostly keenly felt in the country's natural environment. We would like to see how Premier Wen Jiabao responds to environmental degradation in his work report and how China could develop more sustainably.
The increasing international tension reflects the rise of China's influence in the world, and by keeping close watch on the two sessions, the world will in turn get more insights into the prospects of China's development in the years ahead. Zhang Nini, CCTV, Beijing.
And lastly, the Year of the Iron Rabbit is now underway, and this is the major carnival for China's 5 million Tibetans, with the celebrations lasting more than 2 weeks. Revelers observe the Laoser, or Ghost Exorcising Festival, by setting off firecrackers and hoisting prayer flags to scare away evil spirits. And they also prepare traditional Tibetan and Han food, in addition to performing Buddhist rituals. The festival, which falls on the 29th day of the last month of the year on the Tibetan calendar, features family reunions along with pyrotechnic displays and the torch lighting sessions. It's similar to Spring Festival Eve in many ways. The 11th Panchen Lama extended greetings to all Tibetans as the holiday approached. And in the next 2 weeks, revelers are expected to continue their celebrations by exchanging New Year greetings, worshiping gods, and the racing horses. And that's it for this edition of CCTV News. I'm Lisa in Beijing. Thank you so much for being with us, and see you later.